Hey, what's up guys, JayzTwoCents here, and trust me when I say that there are very few times in life where size truly matters. Trust me, I would know. But don't tell that to ZOTAC, because with their new GTX 1080 Amp Extreme, they obviously let the Extreme stand for its size, because behind this is a standard Founders Edition card, which has never actually looked so little and puny until now. I mean, look at this. This is crazy. The new Z170 classified motherboard from EVGA features 8-phase PWM, 4-way SLI support, along with top-notch components to offer gamers and enthusiasts more of what they want. A badass motherboard with no compromises. Click the link below to learn more. Alright, now I don't want to spend a lot of time going over the specs that we already know. This is like the 6th 1080 review we've done. It's the same 16 nanometer GP106 FinFET Pascal core, 256-bit memory bus, 8 gigabytes of G5X. The memory coming out of the box on here is actually overclocked. 2560 CUDA cores, and it's got a boost clock of 1911 megahertz. So out of the box, the base clock on this card is faster than the boost clock on the Founders Edition. Obviously, this one is much bigger. It's got two 8-pin power connectors on here, 270 watt TDP on this card, so obviously that's up almost 100 watts from the standard Founders Edition, allowing it to pull a lot of power to try and get the best overclocking out of the box. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Trust me, overclocking was something I really wanted to spend our time with on this card. But it's got its Ice Storm triple fan design here. It's got massive heat pipes on here running the length of the card. The card measures at about a foot long. It's a really long card, and it's a triple slot card. So you're gonna want to keep that in mind, that small form factor builds, this is not exactly a small form factor card. Now, just like the other AMP cards in the past, it's got this very really kind of a in-your-face gunmetal and yellow design, which actually fit perfectly in the sim rig because I've got a black and yellow theme going on in there. But it's got this light on the back here that says "Push the Limit," and unfortunately, I agree with some folks that this kind of looks gaudy. I think this takes away from the whole appeal of the card. It's not a sticker that you can just peel off. You got to keep that in mind. This card right here is humongous. Now, kind of keeping in tradition with the other 1080s we've seen, this does not have a multiple BIOS selection on it, which is kind of interesting because with the 980 Ti's, we saw lots of graphics cards that had BIOS selector switches for higher voltages and more overclocking options, more fan options, but so far none of the 1080s I've taken a look at actually have that feature, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with the core or NVIDIA's getting involved with that. So on the front of the card here, these do light up white. The ZOTAC logo here lights up white. And this actually pushes a lot of light down in your case. So when it's facing like this, you are going to see the lit ZOTAC right here. And this is going to push a lot of light down, so it's going to light what's underneath the card pretty nicely. But with that said, let's go ahead and talk about the things you guys want to know. How does it perform? Well, let's go ahead and find out right now.
Transition.
Okay, so before we jump into the benchmarks, I know I just told you we were going to do that, but then we didn't do that. I wanted to point out, obviously, as you can see, the LEDs in the front right now are not white, and that's because I didn't realize that if you downloaded the Firestorm app, it was actually an LED that's changeable colors in there. Now, it's not true RGB because you can't choose from the 18 million color spectrum on there. It's just selectable lighting colors. There's like 7 colors that you can choose from. You can change the lighting, including that silly Push the Limits logo on the backplate to change the color to be whatever you want. But although it's a gunmetal and yellow backplate, it's going to look good in a black and yellow build, kind of like the old Skunkworks or like a Bumblebee theme, or even like a Fallout 4 theme or something like that would look really good with this card. But then again, you know, I've always wondered what the point of RGB is, or color selectable LEDs, when the card already has its own color theme. Anyway, I digress. Again, let's go ahead and jump into those benchmarks.
Transition.
Okay, holy hell if this isn't like the Ron Jeremy of 1080s. Oh my god. It is freaking... Okay, fortunately the innuendos are going to continue on this because, let's just face it, there's some huge material to work with. Yeah, that was cringeworthy, but I move on and I digress. That this is the fastest 1080 out of the box that I've had come through the channel yet. I've already checked out several of these cards, custom PCBs, Founders Editions, and out of the box, this thing boosted all the way up to 2050 megahertz on its own, without touching anything. No additional fan curve, no additional power limit, no additional temp limit. And that 270 watt TDP is at the 100% power limit on there, which they allow you to go to 120%, which means you could do a lot of power draw on this card with the two 8-pin connectors on there. But yeah, it boosted all the way up to 2050. And the crazy thing about that is the fan curve on this, with the 3 fans and its custom fan design, and the massive heat pipes on this, and just the behemoth of a cooler, kept this thing under 66C the entire time. And what's kind of funny about that is that's right on the threshold of where the fans turn on. And on this card here, it's the only card I've seen that's come through this channel yet that's been able to turn the fan on in the middle of the test and cool itself off enough to turn off again during the stress test. Now, yeah, it turns back on pretty quickly, but it actually will go on, off while stress testing, and I've never had a cooler that's been good enough yet on a 1080 to manage to do that. But the fan curve on this is actually very, very noise friendly, where you're never going to hear the fans on this, ever. And that's without even touching temp limits and stuff. You play with the fan curve even a little bit, you can get a lot of additional boost out of this. But 2050 in my scenario here, that's 139 megahertz faster than the advertised 1911 boost speed. So out of the box, this is the fastest 1080 I've looked at yet. But, like I said, the innuendos continue. Unfortunately, even though it has a dual 8-pin power plug design, 270 watt TDP, 8+2 power phase, and a massive cooler the size of Manhattan, I cannot achieve a stable 2100 megahertz overclock on that. That's only 15 megahertz faster than it boosted up to on its own, although that'd be 139 megahertz faster than its boost clock of 1911 on the box. Yeah, 1080s just, that seems to be a magical number. 2100 and above is not easy for them to achieve. Ironically, the only cards I have that can continuously hit 2100 and be stable are my Founders Edition cards, which have left a lot of people wondering if NVIDIA maybe was hand-picking these cores and hanging on to them for the Founders Edition. All 3 of my Founders Edition cards can achieve 2100 or more. This exact one I'm holding in my hand can hit 2136. The one I already put the water block on can hit 2166 megahertz on air. I haven't even tested it on water yet. Yeah, so again, single 8-pin power and standard power phase design. These are going farther than all of these custom cards. Now, with that said, it is the farthest boosting card out of the box yet. These didn't boost this far. So if you're the kind of person that wants to get a massive card and just put it in and know you're going to get over 2000 megahertz guaranteed, then it is a fantastic card. It really is. As an overclocking enthusiast myself, I was hoping with all this extra extreme power and stuff that it would get me 2100 and higher, 2150, or maybe even like the Unicorn 2200. Not even close, unfortunately. At 2100, I started seeing black artifacting on the screen without even touching the memory. Because again, the memory runs at just under 11,000 on its own. It's like 2480, so it's like 10,940 or 960. So it's really fast memory out of the box. I didn't even touch that. Yeah, I was getting artifacting at 2100 with VSync or G-Sync off. Of course, when G-Sync and VSync is on, the megahertz can ramp up, the core isn't under as much load, and it can actually stay stable. But the problem is once you let the FPS run away and go to its max generated FPS, something happens in the calculations and then the core just falls on its face at the same speed it's stable at with VSync on. But if you're a diehard overclocker, again, Silicon Lottery is going to make the biggest impact on how far your card is going to overclock. There's no way of knowing what's going to happen until you get out and try it. So there you go, guys, the ZOTAC 1080 amp Extreme card, the fastest boost clock out of the box that I've tested yet. If you're a diehard overclocker, remember, Silicon Lottery matters more than anything that you put on the card. And there's no way of knowing how well that card is going to perform until you get it and check it out. You might get a unicorn, you might get a dud. Again, that's why it's called the Silicon Lottery. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments about this card. I find a lot of people love it and a lot of people hate it. Not many people in the middle ground. And it all comes down to the styling. The styling on this is really kind of in your face. Some people like that and some don't. you guys tell me, do you like it? And what other cards do you guys want me to check out? Because I'm going to kind of cut off the 1080 reviews here pretty soon. I don't want to do too many 1080 reviews. And obviously we've got the 1060 launching right around the corner, and I want to look at some more 1070s. With that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.